In the lightweight division of UFC Fight Night, you got Rafa Garcia coming in at 14-3, just 2-3 in the UFC though. Maheshate comes in at 9-1. He's 1-0 in the UFC, 1-0 at Dana White's Contender Series, so kind of like 2-0 in the UFC, if you will. Maheshate, 5 inches taller at 6 feet compared to 5'7". He's got a 1-inch reach advantage though. Not as much as you might think. Both guys are going to stand right-handed. Both guys land just over 3 significant strikes per minute, which is not a lot of activity. But that's also because Garcia lands a lot of takedowns, right? He's landed like 4 takedowns over the course of 3 rounds, so that's important to note. So we'll get into Maheshate's takedown defense, which really isn't going to be a good average just because he's only had 2 fights in the UFC. But Rafa Garcia, 76% takedown defense. He won't even need that this fight. He is 2-3 in the UFC, beating Jesse Ronson and Nathan O'Leary. But also losing 3 decision fights to, good fighters like Drakkar Klose, Chris Gruetzemacher, and Nasrat Haqparast. So he is taking fights to the distance, and even though he lost against Chris Gruetzemacher, he took him down 5 times. So that's a key note there, or a key stat coming into this fight. Maheshate, 0% takedown defense because he hasn't had to defend a takedown yet. I mean, he KO'd Steve Garcia in 1:14 and won by unanimous decision at Dana White's Contender Series. So a really tricky fighter to figure out. Big-time wild card in Maheshate. This is why the odds for this fight are very close. But the one big difference for me is that Rafa Garcia never lost outside the UFC. Right? He's 12-0 coming in. Maheshate was 7-1, so he has that key loss. So there's something there. Who did he lose to? Right? Outside of the UFC, a non-UFC fighter. So I'm going to lean towards Rafa Garcia, although I have to admit Maheshate is a big-time wild card in this fight. But it's a lightweight division, and previous history is very important here. These are always high-level fights. Rafa Garcia, shorter, lower to the ground, should be able to get underneath Maheshate and take him down. If he does, this fight's over. I like Rafa Garcia to do just that, win the fight, either by decision or submission, to move to 15-3. Toughest division in the UFC, lightweight division, UFC Fight Night.